So market supply assumptions. So there are three important assumptions for market supply. The first assumption is that all firms and potential firms entering the market have identical costs. So those firms all have the same costs. The second is that each firm's costs do not change as other firms enter or exit the market. So if one firm decides to enter a market or exit a market, that does not change the individual firm's costs. The third assumption is that the number of firms in the market is fixed in the short run due to fixed costs and variable in the long run due to free entry and exit, which is a condition of a perfectly competitive market. So the short run market supply curve, so if price is greater than average variable cost, each firm will produce its profit maximizing quantity where marginal revenue, very important, equals marginal cost. The market quantity supplied is the sum of the quantity supplied by each firm. So importantly here, we have an example and one firm marginal cost, average variable cost curve, 1,000 identical firms. So at each price, the market supply QS is equal to 1,000, so the number of firms, times one firm's quantity supplied. So we have the price for the firm in the market, because remember, perfectly competitive markets, firms are price takers. Then we're going to have the number that this firm produces and the number in the market. We'll do another one at price 2, quantity produced by the firm in the market. P3, quantity produced by firm by market. And now we have the market supply curve. So entry and exit in the long run. So remember, in the long run, the number of firms that can change due to entry and exit. So the first scenario is if existing firms are in positive economic profits, new firms are going to enter, the short run market supply curve shifts to the right, price falls, profits decrease, and that continues until there are no economic profits. So now, if existing firms earn negative economic profits or losses, some firms will exit the market. The short run market supply curve is going to shift to the left. That's going to cause price to rise and reduce the remaining firm's losses. And so once again, exit is going to continue until there are no more economic losses. So the zero profit condition. So this is really important for the concept of the perfectly competitive market. So the process of entry or exit, once it's complete, all of the firms in the market earn zero economic profits. And this occurs where price is equal to average total cost. And because remember, firms in perfectly competitive markets produce where price is equal to marginal revenue, which is equal to marginal cost. And the zero profit condition occurs where price is equal to marginal cost, and that is equal to average total cost. So in the long run, price is going to be equal to the minimum average total cost. So now let's take a look at the long run market supply curve. So long run average total cost curve, marginal cost, this is for one firm, this is for the market. So in the long run, the typical firm earns zero economic profit. So P equals minimum average total cost, which is long run average total cost, marginal cost curve intersects it at the minimum. The long run market supply curve is horizontal, where price equals minimum average total cost. So we see this is the long run supply curve for the market. So why do firms stay in business if they earn zero profits? And this is where we need to differentiate between economic profit and accounting profit. So economic profit is revenue minus all costs. And this includes implicit costs like the opportunity cost of a business owner's time and the opportunity cost of their investment. So in zero profit equilibrium, firms earn enough revenues to cover their costs, but they don't earn enough to cover their implicit costs. So effectively, in the long run, all firms basically cover their implicit costs, but they don't earn anything above or below that. It's always zero. So let's run through a short run and long run impact of an increase in demand on one firm in a market. So we're beginning in equilibrium here. The long run supply curve, marginal cost intersects with average total cost, supply demand. So price is going to increase in the market, shifting the demand curve to the right, increasing price and quantity. So that's going to increase price, increase market quantity. This then is going to lead the short run profits for the firm. So in the short run now, the firm is earning profits. But what's going to happen now is over time, profits are going to induce new firms to enter the market because they see that this firm is making a profit and they want to also earn profits. So over time, this is going to continue to move the market supply curve to the right until prices reduce to the point where the firms are earning zero economic profits. So then price drops back down to the long run supply curve. And this drives profits to zero and restores the long run equilibrium. So why does the long run supply curve slope upward? So the long run market supply curve is horizontal only if all firms have identical costs and costs do not change as other firms enter or exit the market. If either of these assumptions are not true, then the long run supply curve slopes upward like we normally think about a supply curve sloping upward. So one of the reasons that it can is because firms have different costs. So as price increases, firms with lower costs enter the market before those with higher costs, which makes sense. So as price continues to increase, higher cost firms enter the market, which increases market quantity supplied. So the long run market supply curve is going to slope up because for the marginal firm, price is equal to minimum average total cost and profit equals zero. For lower cost firms, they are making a profit that is greater than zero because they have lower costs. The second reason is because costs rise as firms enter the market. So in some cases, there can be situations where supply of a key input is limited. So like there's a fixed amount of land available for farming. And so if that input is limited, that's going to increase all firms' costs because firms are going to have to now bid for those available resources. And that is going to increase the costs for all firms in the market. And so just to recap, profit maximization for perfectly competitive firms is where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. Perfect competition is where price equals marginal revenue. So in a perfectly competitive equilibrium, price is equal to marginal cost. So for firms in a perfectly competitive market, price is equal to marginal revenue, which is also equal to average revenue. And price is greater than average variable cost The firm maximizes profit by producing quantity where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Because remember, in the short run, if price is less than average variable cost, a firm will shut down. In the long run, a firm will exit the market if price is less than average total cost. And with free entry and exit, profits are zero in the long run, and P is equal to the minimum average total cost curve.